Welcome back, everybody. We are here at the Raminus Tournament Season 2 for Black Desert Mobile World Championship. It is me, Valdez, back with Joel Sophie for another round of semis, third and fourth place match, final, to finish off the European final, the European region here. So we've seen America already, we've seen Asia, and we just had an amazing final, actually, over at Asia that did go the distance in the best of five, or the best of seven at least. All the best of fives were blowouts.
Well, that's one way to call it, because we thought that the Asia tournament going on from the semifinals, as you say, a blowout, starting from the semifinals. The second semifinals wasn't any better in terms of getting to an extended series, and it did turn out to be a 3-0 at the end. Third place match, we thought, if both teams get beat by 3-0, you're coming to the third place match, and you thought that you maybe put up a fight either way, but it turned out to be a one-sided matchup as well. So we sort of kind of had our hopes down for the finals going into it. Are we actually going to get a competitive series in the best of seven, or is it just going to be one of those games? But it turned out to be completely unexpected. Everything turned on our heads from our expectations going into that game. It was by far the most exciting series we've seen in any Raminus format so far, and we're looking forward to this one.
Even Game 7, where at about 2 seconds left, one of the members that had a lot of points died and nearly threw the match after carrying it himself for so long. As we are going to take a look at the prizes here, is what I was thinking of. Of course, if you are the champion, you will get a lot of pearls. You'll get the Raminus champion title. But new stuff here, we do have the Raminus Gold Crown, and we do have the Raminus Black Spirit Trophy Legend. So it's a nice little gold trophy that you can put in your camp and feel great about.
Now that I realize how big that dive was at the end for the Asian tournament, where Sultan Pros just dove in, died, and almost gave away the tournament just like that. I mean, it turned out to be a case where he almost lost 5,000 pearls for his entire teammates and himself combined, and oh boy, I'm sure their heart was shaking then when he saw the scoreboard at the end. It was really nice, but just all in all, we got entertaining matches in the end, and that's what we're wanting for Europe as well, because everything is on the line in terms of going for that championship title. You will be recognized as the best team in your region to play the game of Raminus, and we will be going on to exactly which teams we will be looking at today. Of course, if we look at the matchup, you're going to see everything come through in terms of the 4 teams that we'll be looking at today.
Yeah, and first off, we are going to take a look at the rules. We talked about this before.
Sure.
It's not really, not too much of a difference. I mean, there's character switching allowed, but nobody does it. So we're not quite there at the point where everybody has, tons of super high-level characters just yet to be switching in and out for the different situations. And, of course, there's grab skill, where you don't want to throw them outside and get them stuck,
and
that
would be
bad.
ideal. I mean,
you don't want to do that.
You sort of want them to play in the game, You don't want to let them play out the game. But, all the jokes aside, we haven't had problems with this all tournament long, and looking like all the European participants will be fairly well aware of it as well. So it's not looking to be a problem, but it's just there to make it as a statement, so that we will be looking at these 4 teams here, and 4 teams that have been highly successful throughout the tournament so far: Balabibs, Finoretska, Shaolin, and Thug Life, and all representing different parts of the European region. And we will see how these teams do, because one by one you look at the matchup, they look quite exciting, and sort of kind of raises the curiosity of what these matches are going to unfold for us, because very different characteristics between the teams here.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how all the teams play out and how they compare to all the teams we've seen earlier in the other 2 regions as well, and to see who is going to come out on top, of course. That's always the main question: who will be the champion by the end of this all? As you guys might see some familiar faces, but first we're going to go over the first matchup of the semifinals. It's Balabibs up against Zvinorexka. Rezka, rather. And it is going to be Balabiba, Nova Dre's Drag Dance. And then we do have, of course, on the other side, the World Glitter. And first question, as it's 4th CP up against 2nd. You can see that actually for Balabibs, they had a bit of a rougher time compared to some of the other teams that make it into the semifinals in terms of their results. They did eat 3 losses on their way up, so they actually had a close match in the quarterfinals. And I think just from looking at those results, we can say that going into this one, they should be assumed as the underdogs.
And it's fair to say that because I think 2-1, 2-0, and 3-2 at the quarterfinals speaks a lot of volumes in kind of the easy road that it has not been for Balabibs. And of course, Balabiba being the captain with the Raven, he's going to be the one to really put all that pressure into himself to doing that setting up, because there's not really a big setup role as we saw kind of from Asia. We have the Paladin, we have the Titan, and those sort of characters out there. But even with Spinoreska, you got first question being the Paladin, you can be that setup role as much as you want for. But Balabiba, you have to be that Raven. You're not gonna really count on the Huntresses to be any type of setup role. So as the Raven, you're gonna have to do the best you can. And if you don't want a struggling series for this one, it's gonna be another best of 5. And they've had a 3-2 before. This time around, they want to be a little more convincing straight from the get-go and start from game 1 looking really strong and really pick a statement to the opponent team.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I noticed about the European teams, you guys haven't seen the other 2 teams just yet, but more so than any other region, there's a lot of focus on Huntresses and Ravens. Just double in multiple teams of both of those classes. So it seems like they know what they enjoy and they think they know what is strong, and they're going to be playing that. But guys, we do have the first matchup ready to go. The first game is ready to start, so let's jump into that now. All right, already getting it started here.
Double Huntresses on both sides. It really shows the priority, as you said, Fowler. Very, very important to have the damage, but who's going to set up to do the damage? It definitely won't be the Huntresses. They're really dependent. That's kind of their characteristic. They really allow the other characters to do sort of initiation, to sort of setting up, so that the Hunters can do free damage on and off. They can escape. That's another part of their mobility roles that they do have. But actually setting up to do damage, it is far more difficult to do that as a Hunter. So, I mean, you've got first question being the Ranger, but with the World being the Paladin, you're going to rely on him to do a lot of the setting up for the Red Squad. But for the Blue Squad, it is a bit of a question mark as to can they actually set stuff up and allow the Hunters to do damage, because the Raven is a little bit limited in that fact.
For sure, but we do see from this matchup that actually it has been quite one-sided already. I mean, we haven't even had Lagos spawn, and it's almost double the points here for the side of Spinoreska. That's a hard name for me to say. Joel, I'm going to have to learn it over the course of this broadcast if they keep on winning. And yeah, they're doing quite well so far. They're really bullying the enemy team here. It is quite one-sided, Joel.
Yeah, we're going to look at how this game progresses on in terms of blue team. Can they come back from this? Because Balabibs, starting off from this first game against Spinoreska, it's going to be about them finding a tempo of their own that they can pace themselves through. So far, Zone, every part of this battle has been pretty much controlled by Blooder and everybody else within the Red Squad. And HP-wise, you can see they're extremely safe going into this Lagos play. 66-25 in this minute and a half, and the Lagos is not even up priority for the Red Squad. You're just going to see them protecting the zones around them, not allowing Balabiba nor anybody from Balabibs to make a statement here, and see if they can keep it this way. Then this should be a very easy best of 5 for the Red Squad.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking quite easy so far. You can see that Balabibs going for the Lagos. They are trying desperately to get close, but as you guys can see, they're not really doing much about it. You can see Drag Dance there on the edge is beginning to get a little bit of poke damage onto that objective.
Getting low.
And they might just try to zone him out and go for the last hit. There it is. Nicely done.
But it is important to know that Blooder, even with 63 points, is at a danger zone with very low HP. The World almost going down. There was a dangerous situation, but Blooder has to be the main target if you are the Blue Squad. They are quite clumped up. It's the potential for a lot of points gathered towards the Blue if they can get to the kill, but it's really having a difficult time doing so.
Yeah, well, this game is pretty much in the bag, Joel. I don't know what else to say. It's Drag Dance trying his best to get something done here towards the end, but it doesn't look very likely.
Oh, look at this.
This game has been going.
Blooder, very, very low. Okay, has to get away for the next 5 seconds. That's all it takes. But it doesn't seem like there's going to be that 1 second. Is that enough?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, he barely lives there at the end. Very one-sided, 127-31.
Wow.
In the first game, as Blooder secures that Lagos, and they were really far ahead when they secured that Lagos.
Sure.
And from there, it was just more and more domination. It just kind of looked like, obviously their composition has a ton of damage in the classes that they do bring. Both of them, actually, both of them do. But I think the focus damage from the side of Svinorezka was much better in that first game.
Maybe that vacancy of the control unit that you do have with the Paladin on the red side compared to what you really don't have. The Raven is about as control as you can get, but setting up with a Raven is far more difficult than you can do with the Paladin, its natural role as a setup role. So kind of having that difference there already shows the differences in the possibilities you can get to getting kills after kills. As you saw, big amount of control from the red side from the beginning all the way to the end.
Yeah, so guys, no time to waste. We're right back into Game 2. Let's get into that now. Back here onto the Ramones. And yeah, I think you're exactly right. They just sent their Paladin forward, they locked down one guy, and then you had two Huntresses in the back just blowing that one person up. And again, they're not super tanky, these the classes we have on the map right now. So if you get them in position, you lock them down, you're going to be able to blow them out quite easily. We saw that a lot in the first game. We'll see how this one goes, though.
And that's quite literally a textbook scenario that you're wanting on Svinorezka, right? And Paladin sets it up, double Huntress putting out the damage. That is going to be a secure kill no matter what. But now we're here on the other side. Who is to do that for them? Balabiba going down, Drag Dance going down, Nova Rays just all alone, not able to do anything. He's just running apart.
Yeah, he's trying his best, but when you're alone,
there's nothing you can do.
He got sniped, he got hit, and down he goes. We got 2 minutes 30 left, and they're already like over 20 points ahead. It's a slaughter fest right now.
And position-wise, they have no idea how to set things up. And I think the communication is very missing in terms of the blue squad with Balabiba. You have to really think about all three members positioning themselves wisely. They are clumped together, which is a lot better than having one separated by another. And this is going to be a situation where they can continually have to communicate to find out better positions for each of the members to come through, because once again, Drag Dance just about to go down. Has that 10 points, but very well could lose it in the moment's time here.
See how that does go along here as they get the freeze. But the lightning was there from the world, and it always almost feels like they're fighting 2v3. If you look at Balabiba, there's like one person dead or one person really low who's kind of just running away at multiple times in the game. Right now it's Drag Dance. He's going to be found, killed. And the control that Svinorezka have, they just know, like, okay, we don't have to go for the Lagos. Nice little fight over here, but
Blooder.
not quite going to work out for them. As also Salvation is here. By the way, everybody's full health.
Well, of course, yeah. But if you were looking at a situation where you thought that 2v1 you're gonna 3v1, 3v2 you're gonna lose, that's fine. But what in a 1v1 scenario you thought you might have a chance, but Blooder still comes out on top. Individually, these guys are ready to play, and these guys are ready to win games, and it feels like this game too, heavily looking in the favor once again towards Svinorezka. Feels like they're ready to go to the finals, and they're ready to do it in a hurry.
Yeah, they're not wasting any time. It's like a steam engine just plowing its way down the tracks. And you can see that Balabiba, he's kind of been resigned to get some objectives. He's over here, maybe trying to help out Drag Dance, but he got frozen, so not able to do too much. Only 30 seconds left. I think you have to try to go for a desperate Lagos play, but it's similar to Game 1, where Red Team is kind of just zoning them out, and then once they zone them away, they can try to burst them down. Let's see, the last hit, though, is going to be picked up by Balabiba. Okay.
55 points. This is going to be the Lightning that's being held. Can get the kill onto Blooder. That's very good. So 10 seconds, that's not enough time for Svinorezka to come back as this one. I mean, even with Blooder and First Question trying to set something up, I don't think it's enough time. And there you go. A-Team winning it once again, just all of a sudden.
Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, that's what can happen, especially if you leave the Lagos for last second, even when you're really far ahead. You've got to be careful about that.
That's
because
the
you are
Lagones
taking a
play.
little risk.
I'm telling you, that's the Lagones
the
play.
Lagones, yeah, okay. Another game of Lagones. Right
well, there you go. I mean, we like to call it Ramones, but every now and then we see a sort of a kind of a shift to the Lagones, and as Lagos it's just so important because you think you're winning the entire game, but the moment you let your guard down right around the 20 seconds to the 10 seconds mark, and you give up that last hit towards Lago because you weren't zoning them hard enough, and that's just this punishment that you have to get because there's so many points on the line, and you're not ready to retreat back once it is stolen away from you.
Yeah.
Losing Blooder like that, just going to give away so many points, and that's basically not enough of a room for a comeback with such a short time rating.
Yeah. So we'll have to see if they can change that up and continue the domination, or will we actually have a real comeback here by Balabibs as Game 3 is ready, so let's hop into that now. Well, here we go, guys. We're back onto the Ramenas. And
Interesting composition here, just having all three clumped up at one position, trying to go for drag dance maybe.
That's in a little bit of an awkward position. Blooder. He smelled blood. He's looking for it now. Drag dance finds an ally. Gonna set up a little 2v1 here. As first question in the world, we're going for some objectives.
Yeah, Blooder has been actually really good in terms of his movement. You saw that Balabiba was trying to come in very aggressively as soon as he grabbed that early lightning, but just distancing him away, but still doing the damage towards his opponents is keeping himself alive. And Blooder, although he did die out in that basically the end of game 2, which cost him the game, I think Blooder might be that 100 that you really want to count on to have a lot of success in this game if you are Svinoretska. And just make sure that the world can set things up for you. And with Blooder in first question, putting up the damage, this looks like a team that can win pretty easily, but that control has to be there throughout the game.
Yeah, especially after games 1 and 2, I think we have a good sense that Svinoretska is the favorite team in this one. I mean, even at the beginning of Game 3, once again, they're quite a large lead. And after Game 2, I think you have to take a step back and say, guys, we've got to be a little bit more careful, especially around the Lagos. I almost said Lagones.
Well, I mean, it's been sticking to your head, isn't it?
When we're playing Lagones, we got to be careful about the Lagos.
There you go.
That's for sure. And you can't just leave it for an opportunity to get stolen at 20 seconds.
Sure.
It's not how you win when you're really far ahead. It's too risky to go for that play.
Here we are at 2 minutes past that we do see the Lagos come into the play. We will see if the early Lagos becomes a bit of an option for maybe the red side. Svinoretska trying to maybe outdo the counter effect of securing Lagos at a much earlier stage and still able to control the map throughout. That will be another strategy to really consider, but I think their interest is not really there yet, just a lot of kills.
Yeah, you saw the world take out Balabiba, and he had the most points. I mean, he was up to like 26 or something at that time. He's going to be denied a bunch of it. And now you can see the world is getting a little bit to work here on the Lagos. Let's see if they change up their strategy. But no, looks like, again, they're just going to keep it alive, not really go for it.
Just opening the room, though.
Yeah.
Just see exactly what the movement is, because you're opening up that space for the blue team to come in here, and you think Balabibs and actually get it once again. It's very possible here.
Do it again. Oh, this time, okay, the world is going to pick it up.
Very low HP, though. Blooder is low. True. First question is low, and the world, as soon as the lightning runs out, if the blue side has anything left, as I say that, a complete wipe.
Yeah. It was the freeze that happened right as the Lagos was coming in. That was actually almost really well timed before the Lagos was last hit, but wasn't quite the case. Now, it's not over yet. We still got 20 seconds. If we've learned anything from the last couple of days, we have seen some pretty incredible comebacks in this exact situation.
They have to be very decisive, though. 89 points towards the world. I know that Paladin might not be the easiest class to catch, but here we go.
Found him. Needs the damage. There it is. They get one. Can they get another? 3 seconds.
Just get that first question, but
not quite. Yeah, not quite going to happen there, as Svinoretska will open up another win for their squad. Now 2-1 on match point after that one. And, you know, we're beginning to see a little bit of the development of what happens there at the end of these Ramenas.
To be fair, though, it was really towards the Svinoretska's control from early game to mid game. They even got the Lagos, but it was that unfortunate series event right after that heavy bout that went about, and it really turned out to be very low HP bars on all three members, and basically losing out on all three members kind of resulted in a case where Balabibas, he and his team had a decent opportunity to come back in this game, and they were on the lead for a little bit of a time, but did lose that in the end. Just couldn't get the decisive hit onto the crucial members. Really got to give the credits over to Blooder for standing out for quite a long time.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, game number 4 is ready. Let's go into that now. Here we go, right back in to the match, not wasting any time at all. And ball here, taking a ton of damage. Is the world in first question, kind of just taking it there.
It's only the early game, so we do have plenty of time for either squad to really keep the rhythm going. And Nova raises damage, but it does go down quite low. To keep our focus as the early game doesn't define everything, but you still want to make some statement so you can hopefully snowball off of your initial success. And the red squad really coming forward and getting a lot of success in this early game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of the same pattern we've been seeing from this first semifinal.
Oh, goodness.
One team has got
Woo, the Lightning.
a very big advantage over the other one, quite obviously.
It does baffle me a little bit, Valdez, that you would just be standing above the Lightning as you're taking damage. Hopefully you can do a little more damage than the Lightning can. That really doesn't happen. You gotta just get away from the Lightning if you are the blue squad. Balabeeps, they knew exactly what was going on. It's pretty Lightning right there and pretty damage all the way through. That's a lot of kills. 61 points already in the first minute.
Yeah, it's bloody once again, and Blooder is feeling quite comfortable in this situation. First question, low on health. He's still going forward.
A little bit greedy.
For kills. He's going to die. And, I mean, you know, at least he's going to respawn here with full health. He only lost 4 points. It's not the end of the world. So he will be coming back here with a substantial lead to his team.
Now, this is going to be the interesting situation where we're sort of looking for clues as to how this game will specifically end. 66-29, 1 minute 30 left to go, and there's plenty of time for Nova Rays and the rest of Balabeeps to stay patient, look for the right time, and hopefully try to grab a late Lagos once again to really disallow the opportunity to come back if you are Svinoretska. So Blooder is very, very high in points, and the world is about to go down with 20. So this gives a lot of room to really move forward if you are Balabeeps, but Balabeeps getting sniped down like that will not help.
Nice little health orb picked up there by the world. It's going to allow him to stick around here on the map. He's going to heal up a little bit and wait for his moment to go in. They're trying to burst down the Lagos once again. This time it is going to go to first question. Just going to find Drag Dance here. Nova already down, and this time they're a bit more healthy, but we'll see if they can hold on to this. It's 2 members. It's also the points are a little bit better spread out than game number 3.
Yeah, Blooder has 52, not far behind the first question, who did pick up the Lagos. First question will most likely be fine for the next 30 seconds, but Blooder getting that kill onto him might be a starter for the blue squad to maybe push things forward, but in the end, it could be just best of 5, just turning towards the way heavily, and that will pretty much be it for the last 15 seconds, looking like they will be the ones going to the finals.
Absolutely. This is a crazy amount of points, Joel. 164, 67, 73. We're just counting up here.
That's it.
And it looks like they're going to stop there. It's not like they had any lack of points. 173 to end that one, and 3 wins to bring them to the finals after winning that game. So they had that one slip up where it's like, ooh, Laganess, you know, it comes up from behind you. You never know when it's going to attack you. And the enemy team is able to sneak it there with 20 seconds left. But other than that, it was straight up domination from the side of Svinoretska.
And I would have to say, even in game 2, the one they did lose with Lagos taken away, they did look dominant from the early game all the way to the mid game. It was only that one slip up that they did not connect the zones well enough for the opponent team to really dive in and get that potential of a steal. other than that, they've looked pretty much flawless. Finoreska looks like a very strong team going to the finals, and whoever comes in from the other side, they should be able to put up a really good fight. To say that Finoreska, a team that we don't know much about yet, we might get to know a little bit more about once we get to see them in the finals.
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody's getting to know this team and saying, oh, they're pretty good. We are going to take a look at the results, the matchup, the bracket, whatever you want to call it. Here's the full brackets. Finoreska move up to the finals. We will have Balabibs in the third and fourth place match that will be coming up after the second semifinals, which is next. Shaolin versus Thug Life will be the next matchup that we are getting to. So hold on to your seats. We've got a lot more Ramanes coming up. And again, very one-sided, kind of reminds me of Asia, even though it was a 3-1. It didn't feel very different from a 3-0, Joel.
Yeah, just take one more game to really clinch the fact that Finoreska was the stronger team at the end. Balabibs will go to the third place match and really allow themselves an opportunity to prove their worth once again. But how much of that they do, we're going to have to find a little bit later. But for now, we're pretty excited about Finoreska going to the finals to see who their opponents will be, which will be decided in the next match.
Yeah, Shaolin up against Thug Life are going to be the two teams that are playing up in the next semifinal, guys. So we are going to take another short break. When we come back, we will get to that second semifinals. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We are here casting the Ramenes Championship, and we just got done with one semifinals. We're going to the second one now, and it should be a good one, Joel. I think a lot of people are excited for this next one. We got some big players, and it should be pretty competitive from what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting because we saw top performers coming in from both sides. We saw at the side of Shaolin, very, very strong team altogether. It really, I guess, forming around Lord Zast, knowing him to be the top-ranked player in all of EU, and
Yeah.
you know, all that in itself makes a statement. And you got very talented lads forming around him with Smitty and Lecter, and we'll see how well they do. But on the other side, Thug Life, the only representative coming from Belenos. Once again, we like to count on our Belenos representatives to make sure they do a good job. They represent our hometown, so we hope they do well. But you know, all other things aside, it should be Ops Ecstasy, Lakika, and also Atsuzuki once we get to their names properly, just in the next slide. But it should be very exciting because two strong teams. We never know what could happen because we never seen them face up against each other before. But this should be an exciting match overall.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at the bracket and just take a, not the bracket, just the matchup here. And it is going to be a couple of those names that we did mention. Shaolin up against Thug Life. It's Smithy, Lord Zask, and Lecter on the left side. Very famous names. And then, of course, on the right side, we got Ops Ecstasy, Lakika, and Atsuzuki representing Belenos. So
Yes.
coming into this one, I think it goes without saying that Shaolin are the favorites, right? They have the #1 CP ranking. They also have a lot of famous, great players in their lineup. So it's going to be up to Thug Life as a team to try to overcome that. Now, Shaolin, their record isn't, pure and clean. They're 3-2 in the quarterfinals, so they almost got knocked out.
But you have to kind of wonder what their opponents were that got them to 3-2. It was Brexit, another team that a lot of people may not know about. But can we get through this without laughing at all? But
Wow.
This team, with all the kind of the humor of the name aside, they are a team that has been very, very good. And they're the only team that actually took advantage of the Striker role, the most recently released class, to the fullest extent, which I thought that Striker might be a very, very strong class early on, but Brexit just could not overcome even with the strong strength that they have shown. So it feels like Shaolin, even with coming as a 2-0-2-0-3 to record, they are still convincingly the favorites to win this entire tournament for Europe. They basically formed just a team just to win this tournament, and you can already see that. So for Thug Life, I should say it is a big, big assignment for them to try their best to make sure they can try to win over this strong team.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be an interesting matchup. We never want to count anyone out, so we have seen lower CP teams that were lesser known, come in and do very well and actually win at times. We did see that in the America region, and maybe we'll see that here once again. I mean, we have seen that Shaolin has lost in the past, even though it was up against a great team. You never know what is going to happen in these semifinals, so I'm very curious to see what Thug Life is going to have prepared to kind of counter the favored team here in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, the composition will be important as well. As we didn't see much of the class switching in the past, this might be the first one where we might see some varieties come into play. You never know because, Smithy can play multiple classes. He's played the Paladin before. He might play the Huntress as he says, but we never know exactly what we'll get into.
Yeah, definitely, Joel. So it looks like game #1 is ready to go. Let's jump into that right now. All right, we're already in the action.
Okay, whoa.
Not wasting any time here.
Striker here, actually. So Smithy, we saw him play the Huntress. We saw him play the Paladin for most of the qualifiers, but not many times has he played the actual Striker. And it's going to be double Ravens? Wait, so this is completely different from what we saw on the introduction. It's not that they lied about their classes. They actually do play Huntress as mains for Lord Zast and Smitty. And Lecter does play obviously the Raven, but this is very, very different.
Yeah, and it's not what we expected, to be honest. I mean, we have on our sheet, Huntress Raven, as we were talking about. This is not to be expected, though. Coming in here, it is going to be interesting to see how they can make this composition work. Smithy coming in here, just healing up his teammates. You can see that they have already gained a nice little lead here with 2.5 minutes in. Smithy is just hunting them down on the Striker, striking them down.
This is the first time we've seen the Striker being played in a Ravenous format on the live stream with America, with Asia and Europe combined. This is our first team to bring this out. A lot of different dynamics expected here for this first game, but domination all the way forward with Smithy really providing all the groundwork for the other two players of the Ravens to provide the damage from behind.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be interesting to see if Thug Life can do anything against this team, as so far it is quite one-sided. We do have the Lagos spawning, and little freeze is going to hit them in here, but doesn't really leave them much time. I just see Otsuke over there still running away, even after getting the enemy team to freeze. But, yeah, they're just hunting them down and taking them down.
So far, literally no competition coming from this team of Lakika, Otsuki, and Ecstasy. You thought that Thug Life, the representative from Balenos, is a pretty strong team altogether, but against the side of Shaolin, I feel like strategically first, they're being outmatched overall, and I feel like there's not really much coming back from here. And I feel like they really picked a really good composition to go up against the Paladin as kind of as the Striker instead. That really allows you to get the front foot and feel a little more quicker on your feet, which allows you to get those first initiatives more than the Paladin can do. You can see that the Lakika just all the way through, not having many opportunities to set up anything for his team.
Yeah, I mean, they have respectively 7, 4, and 4 points. And they're kind of just like camping the spawn at this point. Trying to get in there, do whatever damage he can on this Paladin to the Lagos. I think that's pretty much their only hope at this point.
90 points already, and the Lagos is not even on yet.
Yeah.
It's me.
See, Lizass getting to work onto that right now. He doesn't seem too scared of any risk of Laganess coming in here, as the last hit is going to go to the red team.
Okay.
Lightning is going to come in here.
Okay.
Suzuki looking for
Lecter
the
going
win.
down. Lecter going down would be huge, but he
but 2
does get the
seconds.
salvation
Yeah.
just in time. Aye, that could have been crucial if they didn't have the salvation. Imagine what could have happened.
Yeah, it was pretty close there at the end. You got to be careful because it's not even just the points, right, that you get from the Lagos. It's the lightning from the one guy who's going to just wipe your low team off the map and essentially just get a huge point swing. So have to be careful, but we saw in that game that they were throwing caution to the wind and saying, we're so much better than you that we're just going to roll over you at this point in time.
I mean, we saw the Asia tournament, how one-sided one team can be in the semifinals. This looked like a hushing moment. Like, there's this one team telling the other team, just back down, just quiet down. We got this game. And they showed majority of that for, I think, 80% of the game. Of course, the Lagos and that Lightning that could have been looked really dangerous against them. Before now, that game one looked as safe as it could have been for any team.
Yeah, pretty much. And it kind of looked like a quarterfinals match almost, where it's like more one-sided and one team is a little bit ahead, although that's not every quarterfinals, as we were talking about before. But, guys, we do already have the game started here, so let's jump into Ramoness once again. And here we go. Now, you see Smithy just run across the middle of the map.
Teleported to the other side of the map in a matter of 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's like, fight me, I dare you.
Well, they are, and they're killing Smithy.
Trying to get on top of him, but you can see the amount of damage that Thug Life is taking as a team. Ecstasy going to be the first one to go down. Smithy is quite low.
Have a lot of mobility, that's kind of the strength of what you can find, but look at that. Oh, that was so close. Very nice. So Otsutsuki getting that kill on Smithy is a good start, but you saw that complete wipe that happened in the first 20 seconds or so of this game too. Oh, it has to be something. We're seeing a Windows pop up, and we don't want to see too much of that. But yes, they are ready to play in Otsutsuki. Make sure he has to survive through this one. Somehow has to find a heal or even a salvation from his teammates would be very helpful at this point.
For sure, he's just, trying to hang in there in this game. It's kind of hard. Oh, he gets knocked down. But no finish off just yet. Lecter decides, no, you know, I'm just going to let you be. You got a nice little 3-on-2 in the middle. For now, that's just fine. Otsutsuki still on the run. And yeah, Lord Zask full health in the middle there. He's just taking names with him. It is a little bit closer than game number 1, at least in the points that you can see, but very low health bars for Thug Life right now. XTC is going to be taken down, and it looks like they'll finally finish off Otsutsuki and garner a massive lead.
I feel like this is not even about the striker anymore. Look at Lord Zask just collecting points after point. And you really kind of have to wonder what is the solution to beat this team overall. You put your focus on Smitty as they are doing with the red team, and you get Smitty down. He's at 9 points. They're doing a good job of it, but they're still losing by quite a bunch because the other 2 Ravens can still cover up, collect the points their way, and still become a successful team in the end to get all the control of the Lagos that they're doing right now.
Sure, and you can see that they're desperately trying to fight back, but it doesn't really look like the health bars are being touched too much, although Lord Zask is kind of in the middle of it there. Never backing down from a fight. They've made that very apparent in this match. They're not scared to fight against the enemy team. Lightning is going to come in here for Lord Zask, just pad their points a little bit more.
He is quite low on HP, so that needs to be a little bit of a solution on how to get the HP back onto it, but for now, 50 seconds, 77 to 22. You know the kind of the outline of this scoreline of how this is going to affect the rest of the game, but Lord Zask was caught.
Yeah, they caught him. Obviously, quite difficult to take him down as he is going to run away and live from here.
Alright, so this is important. You have to get the Lagos. There's no option about it. With 30 seconds left to go, get the Lagos and get the couple of kills onto Lord Zask most preferably. And that's the only chance you have to win this game. And they have to go for it quickly now.
Look at Lord Zask. I think he's just waiting maybe for the last hit. Smithy going in there, and it is going to go the way this time.
Very nice.
Of Lakika, who is going to pick that one up and is looking for the kills. And again, there's not enough time
Zask dies out,
to
and that's
fight
basically
this
it.
one. And there you go, GG.
Wow.
As Thug Life this time around is going to take that Lagos. And a bit of a Laganess coming in there as the steal away. I mean, it was pretty hard. You got to say that, you know, that was a good idea, or a good job rather, to get the last hit on the Lagos there.
And the key factor to allowing that to happen more towards their favor was Lord Zask, very low on HP, and even with 42 points, he knew the risk could not be there for him to jump in there to help out with the Lagos fight, but in the end, 3 versus 2, no matter how strong the opponent teams are, 3v2 makes it so easy for the team with more members to steal away the Lagos, and they did. And eventually they got Zask as well. So stealing away all those points made it so easy, that textbook solution to the situation that they were. And the game 2 win over to them was exactly what they had to get done. They did it, and they got the victory.
Absolutely. So nicely done by Thug Life, the representatives from Balenos coming in here and tackling down the massive oak that is the Lord Zask team. But guys, we do have game number 3 up and loaded, so let's hop into that one right now. Here we go once again. And we saw this actually in the first semifinals, where the one team that was dominating gave up a Lagos in game 2 and tied it up. So I have no doubt in my mind that this time around, Shaolin is going to say, let's take it easy, guys. Let's try to figure out how we can get in a better position around Lagos time.
Take it easy, you say. I see almost a complete wipe on the opposite side. That being calming things down, maybe so, but I think game 2, I think the strategy that we were kind of mentioning about was that focusing down on Smitty as the striker naturally deprives them of the setup role for the blue team, and Shaolin does not have anyone for the other 2 Ravens to take advantage of. And that really worked out quite well, because Smitty was really much of a non-factor in game 2 because the other 3 players from the opposite side did such a good job of shutting him down. Maybe if they can repeat it again, get kind of Zask in a really much of an awkward position, even if he doesn't have a lot of points, and can get another easy Lagos and kind of repeat the process from there.
Yeah, no doubt that's going to be on their minds as Smithy just going around looking for objectives, really, although as I say that, he finds a wandering Otsuzaki and says, okay, I can take you down. Salvation for the team. Knock down the walls at the same time, might as well, as the entire team is defeated consecutively.
8-7-6 in a order that you would not want on the side of the red. Thug Life coming from Belenos, they did a good job of securing that game number 2, but game 3 really looks to be out of hand as we see this to be a factor. Lord's Ass back on top again in terms of points, but this Raven needs to feed off of the initiation that can come from the striker. It's going to be very important for Lord's Ass to do all the damage that he can, but making sure that this Smithy on the striker can continue to be proactive as they can to make sure that this game 3 goes to their bag as much as possible.
Sure, Lagos here hasn't taken too much damage. Smithy just passing by. He's always looking for Thug Life members. Instead, they're just bullying Otsuzaki over there on the left side. As once again, just gonna get the salvation here. Everybody's gonna be topped up. And I think the strategy here is just it's to get such a massive lead that they can't really contest. So even if they do get the Lagos,
won't matter much.
Yeah.
Smithy with 26, he's the lowest point holder in the team. 26, 20, I mean 30 to 33. There is no way in 40 seconds that even with the Lagos skill, we'll be able to take this away because aggression is what they're showing us.
Let's see. I mean, if they get Lagos and they get 2-3 kills, then we could see it.
That's a fairy tale story, Valdez. I wonder if that's actually going to happen.
You gotta be
There it is.
Okay, nope, not this time. Yes, game 3 is going to be going the way of Shaolin.
It does go. Yep, going over to Lecter this time around, kind of the understated player. Let's get a little bit of a spotlight in this game number 3, but convincingly, as you say, Valdez, it is going to overtake Shaolin for this game number 3 for another victory.
Yeah, 137 might be the final score here, as there you go. It is going to be locked in, as now Shaolin on match points after that very dominating game. I feel like it was, it was almost like confusing because so many people were dying over and over and over again, and there was just never a stop to the action. As the entire map was just dominated by Shaolin.
It was quite violent, Valdez. I mean, I do not want to see that if you're on the other team. And going into this last match, that could be the potential match point here. You really sort of have to wonder. You won that game 2 on the red side because you took down Smithy and made him practically unusable as a striker to set up that role. Can you do that once again in this potentially the last match where you... If you saw something that worked, maybe try it again. Of course, Shaolin will not allow that to happen for a second time, but in your best efforts, you really have to try something that worked previously and see if it can bring you to a getting 5.
Yeah, I think that's the plan for sure, but who knows? Can Thug Life, the one Belenos representative, can they come up against this insanely strong team that we have seen? That is the real question, as, the 4th game is ready to go, guys. So let's hop back into the Ramonets. Going again, once again. Smithy, he doesn't waste any time. He's like, okay, I'm going to just, pour it over, run straight at you, and begin kicking you in the face. Like, he's got one objective on his mind.
He ain't scared whatsoever. And even that game too, where he just kamikaze dove over to the opponent's side, literally transported and teleported over in 2 seconds. That game did not work for him, but he's not going to be scared whatsoever. His demeanor about going aggressive against the other team will remain unchanged no matter what. And this game 4, it's no different at all.
Getting in there. This time around, he's top on points. He's got 17. Slowly but surely, see, they're just they're taking the objectives as they go. It's almost like, you're on your way to work, you grab a sandwich at the shop, and then you walk on over, you take the objective, and you get a bunch of kills on your way. That's essentially the way it works here.
I mean, you gotta give time for the Red Squad to do something about this, to make a comeback, to try to hunt people down. but they're the ones always getting
Yeah,
hunted down.
white.
There's nothing to do. I mean, they're on the field at an average of 4 to 5 seconds per player. There's not even enough time to strategize what to do against the same.
Yeah. You can see there that Lord Zask almost ran straight to Lightning because he's like, yeah, that's almost up. I'm just going to one-shot you after you come out of that thing.
Well, Smitty's in.
Okay.
That's a start.
One opportunity here. A little bit more damage to Lagos. As Ecstasy, it looks like he was already getting started on that one. He's found Lecter on the right side.
Yeah, this is looking quite good, actually. The 20 points that Lecter does hold, if it does get transferred over to the red squad and gets the potential Lacus on the control, that could be pretty good for Thug Life to really make this competitive series and get out of game 5.
But it looks like Salvation was picked up to help that team just continue to push their lead here. And you can see that at least this time it's not like 8-7-6 in terms of points on the enemy team. It's 12-10-10. So they have a little bit more of a point bank at this time.
But at the same time, I mean, we're looking at a late Lagos opportunity, definitely being an opportunistic fact for the red squad, with Thug Life looking for the about 30 seconds, 20 seconds to maybe finish off the Lagos. You can see that it's basically being untouched by the red squad for the time being. They don't mind the low points for now. They just want to make sure they get in a good position right around the late bids and to see if they can get it.
Look, Nico looking at me. He's just like, please let me be. I don't want to be here. He's just being hounded by 3 members in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, now 30 seconds left, and there's not a massive lead in the points. I mean, this is definitely, you can win if you pick up the Lagos here.
It's the matter of Shaolin, even if they do see the Lagos stealing away, you have to get away from it, even if they don't.
Yeah, that time around, and you can see because they were all in on the Lagos, everybody's just being zapped down immediately. So that's going to be a full clear, a wipe of the map, and we will have our second finalist moving on to the next stage. It will be Shaolin as they dominate here in similar fashion, actually, to Svinzerezka in the first semifinals, where it's a 3-1, but that one game is like, oh, that was kind of a fluke, you know, like we messed up, but we're the better team by far.
And that really was the same story coming from Svinzerezka's side. I mean, that game too, the Svinzerezka side did not look like a weaker team. They were the stronger team for most of the time. And that late game fluke, that what really was all that it took for the other team to get the victory. And same thing here. The game 2 that they lost, you could tell if it wasn't Smitty having probably one of the worst games that he had throughout the tournament, it probably would have been once again in game 2 over to Shaolin. So in the end, we got 2 teams in the finals who dominate their way past their competition to get to where they are now in the finals. We'll get that match in a later run, but it's going to be exciting to see because we don't have a clear winner, at least in our heads, of exactly who's going to be the one to dominate here.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to take a look here at the bracket. It is going to be the 2 S teams. Svinzerezka up against Shaolin up in the finals. Of course, before we do get to that best of 7 finals, we will have the 3rd and 4th place match between Bala Bibs versus Thug Life. As we mentioned before, the difference between 3rd and 4th in terms of prizes is actually quite nice. You can get that statue if you're in 3rd.
And that crown also, Valerie. You gotta remember everything that goes into play. Extra pros, extra goodies, and extra bits. That's all you're really wanting if you're playing the 3rd and 4th place match. And of course with Balabibs not having the best of series against their opponents, but also with, I think, Thug Life has a lot more to show as the only representatives from Balenos. There's got to be a lot more to show, and we'll see that come into play for both teams, actually, when we get to the 3rd and 4th place match very, very soon.
Yeah, so guys, we will be getting to that 4th and 3rd place match in just a bit. Of course, for you guys, I do want to mention this from time to time. If you're waiting for the code, if you want to pick up that code, wait until the end. It will be after the finals during the, I suppose, the final screen, if you want to call it, because it's not really a break, because that will be the end of the broadcast. So that's where the code will be. But guys, before we do get to that 3rd and 4th place match, we're going to take another 10-minute break, so we'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We are here at the Ramenes tournament, and we got this 3rd and 4th place match that we're about to go into. Is going to be Balabibs up against Thug Life. Thug Life getting kind of pwned there by Shaolin, and Balabibs honestly kind of getting pwned by Sviznoretska.
Svinoretska. You know,
Svinoretska.
I'm not going to take pride
I don't know
in
why
my
I can't say this
Russian,
name.
but, you know, having operated Black Desert Mobile for this long of a time, you get to know a little bit of the second-hand Russian as you hear it back and forth. So Svinoretska, I do get to get accustomed to that pretty well. Right. So I think we're doing pretty all right.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a look at the matchup that we do have here. As it is Balabiba and Nova Draze and Drag Dance up against Obsk. We're trying
You're
to
having
say this
a
name
tough
too.
time.
Obsk Ecstasy.
It's a tough name. Ops Ecstasy?
How do you put a P and an X together? I don't know how to make that
unless
sound.
he intended for us to read it as OPX Ecstasy. That's a different story altogether.
Maybe that's kind of next level, Joel. I don't know. Maybe you figured it out.
You're just tired. It's 1 a.m. in the morning in Korea as we're casting it. So we do want to kind of mention that kind of as a side note. You know, we wanted to provide the best possible scenario for the European participants to not participate on the weekday at around the afternoon lunchtime. We wanted to make them a little more comfortable, so that's why we're kind of casting 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. here in Korea, just to try to fit the European time as much as possible. Of course, it's not 7 p.m. That will be to our liking, but then we would have to stay at like 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. just to cast.
That would be next level. We'd have to sleep here and then do the next broadcast, but that is not the case. And as we mentioned before, we're fighting for pride here. We're fighting for some better loot, if you will. You want to pick up the extra pearls. You want to get that nice little statue in your camp, and you do want to pick up the crown as well for getting 3rd place. If you get 4th place, you lose actually a lot.
You do. And so it's a lot of pride on the line, too. You came to this live stream playing in front of a lot of people, so you want to show your best efforts and make sure you can show some winning efforts as well. And I think both teams has a lot to show this time around.
For sure. So let's see what they can show here as we're going to jump into the first game right now. And off we go. Let's hope this one isn't a blowout like we saw in the first couple of semifinals.
And like I said earlier, I think both teams have a lot to show. They just couldn't show being up against strong opponents, both from their respective sides. But now they're here in the 3rd place match. Infinite opportunities for them to really break out and show what they're really all about. Balabiba doing a very good job of running away from them. Like, around for a long time. There's going to be a lot of these series of questions we'll be asking, getting to know these players on a more personal level as we see games progress from here.
Yeah, so far pretty even, although we do see that a nice little lead has been taken here by Thug Life. Just a little one. They're got some pretty low numbers. Lakika does have to be careful about where he does go. He's not part of this fight over here on the right side, the 2v2 we got going on.
Yeah, sort of the split targeting is somewhat of a disappointing effort coming from Nova Draze and Drag Dance. If they have focused all their efforts onto Otsutsuki, it should have been a much easier effort to get that kill, but instead they will be firing back from the opposite side where Ops Ecstasy and also Otsutsuki did a lot better job of targeting on a singular unit. They're doing it again. Nova Draze about to go down very soon here.
Yeah, Lakika, he was able to win that kind of 1v1 up against Balabiba, and then since then he's stayed alive, and they've got a nice, comfortable point lead here in this game. We'll see how these two teams want to go ahead and handle the Lagos. Nice bit of healing will go the way of Lakika, so he's kind of back in this game, but still pretty low health bars compared to the enemy team here for Thug Life.
Yeah, still, as you say, very, very tough for this specific team to go have a serious attack at Lagos, as they're just trying to just run away from all this damage, and Balabiba should going to get an easy one.
That's a couple of kills already going the way of Balabibs. They're going to try to get Ecstasy at the same time. He's incredibly low.
This is definitely a good time to go for Lagos if you are Balabiba and the boys. But as I do say that at 19 points, losing that now, it's not the same situation as it was just a couple of seconds ago.
Yeah, and Drag Dance here at the same time. He's going to be taken out right after Balabiba. And And down he will go. So again, a pretty comfortable lead, although Obsession is just he's so low. He's not even really participating right now. And that's, well, he did go in there to help out, do a nice amount of damage to Nova Dre's, and that's really all he's going to be able to do is pop in and pop out.
Oh, he is so low. How he's still surviving here, and he gets it.
Yeah, he's gonna pick up that kill, and honestly, I don't know. I wouldn't give him any more points if I were if I were their team.
Exactly.
What are they gonna do about the Lagos here? Could be a bit of a 3-on-2 if he doesn't join.
There's no way he can join. The Optics see there's no possible chance for him to
Oh, there
5
you
damage,
go.
but still.
Yeah, still
Lakika?
able to pick it up, and that should be the end of this first game. That is a massive lead, almost 100 points ahead. As Lakika gets in there, Ecstasy, he's, effectively able to stay alive the entire game somehow.
Very, very good.
Even after being basically on death's door. As 2 seconds left, and that's going to be the end of it as they run away. And GG, the first game of the best of 5 will go towards the Belenos representative, Thug Life. And nicely done there. That was, again, pretty one-sided, although I wouldn't say that it was... from a gameplay perspective, super one-sided. I thought there were moments that Balababes looked okay in that one, so we'll hope that they can come back in the next one.
But all in all, that game 1 looked fairly directed towards one side in the end. It looked very good in the early game, and kind of in the making, they had the little relapse, and where they just losing a couple members, but they quickly bounced back, just got a couple kills on the other side for it to, and just progressed on to Lagos, and we thought they wouldn't have control, being down 3-2, but still secures it on their end, and winning over 100 points in the end. So looked fairly clean for game 1, I would have to say, towards Thug Life, and representing Belenos. I think they're going to try to go on with this and try to win as many more games as they can.
Yeah, for sure. And they looked good. They looked strong, relatively clean. And it does. I'm getting the voice now that game number 2 has started. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into that right now. Off we go, straight onto the battlefield. And so far, Balababes hasn't... they've been kind of underwhelming, to be honest. They haven't really found a foothold so far in this match, as all 6 members are going to run into the center and begin skirmishing.
Well, at least for the first game, they've had their moment momentarily, and just to try to hold on to it was kind of their prime objective when they got that in game 1, but not able to do that for much of their own. And, even with this game, Dragdance getting that statue is a good start, but it's been the question since game 1. Once they find an opportunity to gain the lead, can they hold on to it? In game 1, the answer was no, but game 2, they definitely have another chance of doing so.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're going to be able to pick up a couple of kills already. Salvation does come in here to the side of Thug Life.
Not much to do, though.
Yeah, everybody was kind of just respawning after dying, so that doesn't really do much for your team. As now on the back foot here is Thug Life against Balababes.
You can see that hungry Hyenas just jumping on the top scorer with Dragdance as soon as he showed his face. The other 3 members from the red side are just counting over him. Get the kill onto it, but still survive.
They do. Nice little 2v1 set up here in the corner, although, as you mentioned, the second Dragdance is spotted. They're like, okay, we're going to hop onto him. But Nova Dre's does go down, and slowly clawing their way back here is Thug Life.
Ooh, Dragdance looking very dangerous in this situation, not able to get away, even with the help of Lagos. Ooh, get the kill, Dragdance. Are you going to get away from this one again?
He's still alive.
Yeah, he is.
We had a camera on him because we thought he was going to die, and then we would switch to someone else, but it took him a while to go down there.
He did.
Yeah.
Suzuki getting that last bit of points. 22 points from the Pika, 17 onto Otsutsuki, but it's still 52-45 in favor of Balabiba and the boys, but Balabiba going so low, you have to be careful. There's still a lot of time left to be played, enough time to lose this momentum that they've gotten so far.
Yeah, there's a lot more damage this time around on the Lagos earlier on. See if any team gets a big lead and tries to make a mad dash for that one. Monument of Battle still up over here. We'll see if looks like trying to get on top now. Balabiba pretty low with the most amount of points. We were talking about this before. The statue is going to go the way of Thug Life.
Lakika has the points, and this is going to be a jackpot spot. If you are Balabeeps to try to come back into this one, game 2 definitely can't be theirs.
Lagos, who's it going to go to this time? It goes to blue team, and that is big. We had a lot of members bunched up there, but Balabiba, take a look at his points, or his health right now.
89 points. You do not want to lose that. The moment you do, that is game over, and game 2 will go away from your back. Be very careful
here.
Still
got 20 seconds. I mean, this is not totally done.
I wonder if they spotted him, though. I mean, he's showing himself just glimpsely back and forth. Look, he's right there.
Touch him, but can they do the damage?
My.
I don't know if they can. They can't quite lock down. And now that he's got some healing now, he's fine.
Goodness.
That's going to be the win.
That is impressive. Balababy, you have the guts to go in like that, try to get that extra kill. Because the moment you kind of scare away, there is very little chance that you will survive for that little bit of touch that you were talking about. That was just enough to kill him off. But with that sliver of HP, goes on the attack, gets actually the kill, and still survives to tail to tail.
Yeah, just a little bit of offensive defense, I suppose. He's like fighting for his life. He's like, don't get near me. I'm going to kill you first. And it ended up seriously working out for him as he ended that game with over 100 points on just the one player.
You know what I've said, though? I've heard a famous football coach say that the best defense is the best offense. This time around, best offense was the best defense.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it works out that way, Joel, as we do have game 3 loaded up and ready to go. Let's hop back into the Raminus. Go once again. It's a fresh slate for both of these teams. It's now a best of 3 as we're all tied up 1-1.
But here it is, the man of the hour for game 2. The decisiveness of the audacity even to really go for the plays idea. If I was a team coach for that team at that moment, I would have been yelling his butts off. But you know what it is? He did it, and he got the win off of it. So it's all about the result-oriented in this sort of Raminus thing, where you do the thing that you did, and it became a win. That became the right thing to do. So really, you got to trust the understanding of what Balabiba is thinking about as the team captain for the team Balabips to see if they can get another win in game 3, because now it feels like the possibility is there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like proving it to yourself as well as to everybody watching that you have the ability to actually win against one of these teams in the semifinals. The statue there is going to go the way of Balabiba. Getting another one for his team. Feeling pretty good about that. Still relatively early in this one, but we've seen that both early games in games 2 and 3 have gone the way of Balabeeps, so it does feel like the tide is kind of turning towards that team. Yeah,
I feel like it's really just a surge of confidence that's been shifted to the other way. We saw that game 1, Lakika, Otsuzuki, and Upnexus. These 3 players look extremely confident, knowing that their opponents were not Shaolin. Just going up against hard, just really confident, aggressive force, and it worked out in game 1 to make them look like the stronger team. But in this game 2, once Balabiba found his mark, once he found his rhythm, that he's very confident about going with his 33 points. A little bit of HP cut off, but he's gonna go in hard as much as he can to make sure he really push forward this advantage to gain more if he can.
Yeah, Balabiba up there on top. He's over half health, 33 points. All eyes on him essentially at this point. Pika trying to do something. He just ran in all alone essentially.
Yeah.
Be careful about doing that here, as it really does feel like the tides are turning. You know, game 1, very obviously in one team's hands. Game 2 was close, but then Lagos went the way of Beeps rather. But this time, Thug Life is just totally behind, even going into the Lagos, which is something we haven't seen before. So we kind of have to shift our attention as well to see how they can try to come back in a place they haven't really been in, as Lakika is also going to go down.
Ooh, and Balabiba is really, really low. Just one hit on it. Is he going to make this fairy tale story once again here, Valdez? 49.
Well, there you go.
The moment he loses that, that's game over essentially. And that's going to be Red Side just so happy with what he is, but I don't think they know where he is.
This is gonna be a really awkward spot for them because the points are pretty close and he's on the run and they know he's so low. So
This is what the Raven is so good at, mobility at its highest fashion. And there's no way they're going to catch up to if you can make the moves like that over and over again. 49 points still.
Yeah, he's still just hanging out on the map.
Oh
Nobody has really
8
gotten
seconds.
onto him. He's still running away, but look at this. There's a tiny little lead going to the side of Thug Life. We got 2 seconds.
There's
Who's it going to go?
just 1 point.
81 to 82. That's the way that one goes as Lago stays alive. And Thug Life actually ekes out a win just barely.
And you saw the server just kind of rotating. It was kind of thinking about, just kind of
Yeah, it's like,
comprehending. Wait, what? That's what
Yeah.
the server was reacting to, just as the same as us. I'm trying to collect all these things, right? Balabiba was running away with 50 plus points. Understood.
Yeah.
They were 1 point down still, though. What is the situation that we have to come to
Everybody
in the
else
end?
is just dying.
I guess that's the
Yeah.
easy conclusion to all of that, but it was a confusing situation because you thought that Balabiba would create the fairy tale story again. It's not that he failed. His other teammate just
No.
couldn't hold up.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, that's not a situation you find yourself in every single game, right? So they were kind of running with their tail between their legs. They weren't really able to fight 2v3, and it didn't really look like Thug Life was desperately trying to find Balabiba either. They attempted to chase him a couple of times,
Sure.
but then they were like, oh, his teammate is right here. Like, let's just kill him instead. So we'll see what they can do as on match point now is Thug Life, game number 4. Let's hop into it. All right, here we go.
The man of the hour. Again.
Yeah, he's back.
You know, I felt kind of weird as I was kind of celebrating the successful escape of Balabiba, but his team still lost by 1 point. It was a weird feeling, Valdez.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like he was doing everything right, but then still lost.
It's like Indiana Jones making it to the end of the tunnel, but it was still mission accomplished. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. And you know, it's not really the fault of his team. It's hard to play 2v3. Like, Balabiba was kind of just out of that game, right? He wasn't really
Connected.
contributing much,
Right.
He was picking up orbs, and he's like, well, I guess I'll just hang out over here. Hopefully my team can do something. It's just a wonky situation that you have to handle, and unfortunately they fell 1 point short. As at least this time around, Balabiba's team, Balabibs, they are getting closer. They're going to topple the statue here in the middle.
And they did that in the third game as was the most previous game, but being able to hold on was fine. But the other two players, not much to see them on the screen. You see the observers are really liking Balabiba to see what he will do next. But the other two players were sort of confused as to exactly what these other two players' roles are. They are the Huntresses, and we know that Raven 2 Huntress comps can be very squishy, and you have to find some sort of control. Balabiba has a little bit of control by himself, but not really with the connection with the other players. And just a complete wipe, as you see right now, it's not going to help him.
It just got completely wiped, and now this time, maybe it's time for Thug Life. Maybe it's their game to win, as they have come in here with a vengeance after winning that incredibly close game number 3. And now they're just trying to team up on Drag Dance once again. It's not the first time they've done this. They love hunting down one person by one person.
Yeah, it's a 3v1, and you're not going to lose 3v1. That's just how it works in any game, including Black Desert Nova. If you're realizing that your members are getting hunted down 3v1, if you are Balabiba, if you are Nova Race, just come back to it. Just really support it. Try to practice 3v1. I don't think they should be backing down from such a challenge, but here they are coming to Lagos. That could be their saving grace. This has to be it.
He's going to pick it up. It is going to go the way of blue team. And let's see who else they can pick up here. Ecstasy going to be one of those kills. We still got 50 seconds. See what they can do. You can see Balabiba's playing it pretty safely. He doesn't want to get into the back line.
And Balabiba back on the Indiana Jones mission again. This time, we hope that end of the tunnel brings him win instead of getting that loss in that 1 point. But 111 to 47 looks really good as long as Balabiba can hold on to his point. As we do say that.
Oh, okay. That's one step. There's only 25 seconds, though. You got to take down Drag Dance. That's really your only hope. get Drag Dance, get a bunch of objectives, and you can do it. And they are really bullying him
goodness.
there. There's really no support for him at all. They're just getting a bunch of objectives on the map.
This is just really frustrating to see. I mean, you have such a big lead, but
and one more.
so close. Nova Rays, if he goes down, that's pretty much the game.
And they kill him though. 2 seconds. I don't know.
1
He is
second.
going to survive. And okay, we do finally go to a best of 5 that goes to a game 5 as Balabiba ends up there with the most points at the end. Once again, they nearly picked off that last member of Nova, but it wasn't quite enough. And so Thug Life is going to fight tooth and nail down to the last game to try to see if they can pull this one out up against Balabibs.
And I have to say, just like the Season 1 European Championship, we have the most wonkiest game, as kind of quoting the word that you used. In Season 1, remember, just we had the bush plays coming through. Do you remember 3 months ago?
They just sit in the bush.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they have their own individual bush as well. We've had wonky plays come from Europe, and here we are back again. Just wonkiness all around. I'm liking it, but just kind of don't know where to put the table on in terms of who's going to win this game.
Yeah, Balabibs, interesting strategy there. They're kind of like every man for himself, you know? It ended up working because
teamwork? No.
They got a lot of objectives to try to open up the point gap even more while the one guy was being bullied and running away and wasting time.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I
guess
seems like it's working.
You know?
We have to see
Not
the end
bad.
of this. That's the thing.
And guys, we do have the end of this coming in. Game 5 is ready to go. Let's watch it now.
You know, and sort of the things that for us as commentators, for us to read the flow of the game, to kind of predict what is to happen next, and try to decipher that, and just translate over that to the viewers as best as we can. But really impossible to kind of predict what will happen next, even in the next 5 seconds of this game.
It's quite difficult. Keeps us on our toes. Provides entertainment. That's what we're here for. We want to see the crazy plays happening in this one. And the observers know it too. I mean, they're from the get-go immediately calling Balabiba, saying, "Okay, what are you going to do now? What's the next play?" As Drag Dance being chased down here, he's assassinated.
Very nice by Lakika. Yeah, that was very nice by the Paladin. Seems like he needs to make more of those plays, knowing that he's up against a very squishy composition of one Raven with 2 Huntress. We've seen this composition before, and once you get control over one member at a time, it does bring a lot of success towards the other team hunting them down. But with this Paladin, it has to be that central role, as we've always kind of mentioned for a Paladin to be. If really we don't get anything going from this Paladin role, there's not a lot of success coming from the other 2 Ravens on your team.
Otsutsuki, he almost looked like he was AFK. He was just like standing there, and then he moves out of vision, moves in, topples the statue, gets that last hit. He's going to be on top for his team. He's kind of the orb collector at this point in time. He's going to come in now and help his team as Lagos will spawn.
Nova Rays so low, and along with Balabiba, as they're trying to go for this 3v1 hunt, but really not working as effectively as they would like. But now they're just reading. There's nowhere to go.
Nice grab there as SC going to pick up that final kill. So try to wipe the enemy team off the map. As this time around, it kind of reminds me of game number 2, where the slow lead was being taken by Thug Life.
Now the situation is, this being game 5, pretty much being the match game for either side to win this one. Is it going to be Delphi coming from Balabib? Is it going to be Balenos they're representing from the other side of Thug Life? It's 2 very variant regions with very different playstyle, it feels like, to see who's going to get the win here. But lots of interesting plays going back and forth, and it's impossible to call right now who's going to be the winner at the end.
For sure, XTC getting low. He's the main point holder for his team, and Lagos really hasn't seen any focus in this one.
Oh, good salvation.
That's massive.
That is huge. I mean, if you really wanted salvation at any point in the tournament, this might be your one time that you really wanted that there. 66 to 50. You're losing a little bit of that now, but holding XTC to his toes, but he does die out.
Oh man, that was a big lightning. He's able to kind of wipe the floor
free
for
Lagos?
the enemy team, and they might just be able to get a free Lagos here. It is going to go their way, as this is the last match. They might have just secured it here.
Balabibs
Balabibs coming in big.
You know, to this moment, I still don't know what their strategy is, but whatever it is, it's working.
it's looking good, man. Whatever it is. Drag Dance with 80 points. He's on the run.
Goodness.
10 seconds. And it looks like he should be final, though. Stun is going to come in.
Doing everything they can. All the Black Spirit Rage skills, everything they have to try to bring this man down. But it is.
There you go. Game number 5 will go the way of Balabib as Drag Dance ends up with 80 points. And they do secure 3rd place. So congratulations to them. They fought hard, especially after game 1 was just really one-sided. And we're like, oh. I look at Joel and I'm like, 3-0 again?
Yeah, we were kind of giving each other that cue, but
it wasn't that way.
Hey, you know what I said, though? Before this game started, both teams have a lot to show. And boy, we saw quite a bit that we didn't see in the semifinals, and we're glad that we did.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that was a very enjoyable 3rd and 4th place match, right? We got to see some great plays from both sides, some interesting strategies that we don't always see here in the Ramenes. And, yeah, that's going to do it for the 3rd and 4th place match. We only got one left, guys. We do have the finals coming up, the best of 7. And that is going to be between Svinarezka and Shaolin in the finals. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll be back after 10 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We are here for the final match of the night. It is going to be the finals of the Europe region, and we do have a big best of 7 coming your way, guys.
You were good at this. You were good at this. Right before the break.
I was practicing during the break, and I still, for some reason, I just couldn't get it down. Spinnereska up against Shaolin is going to be the finals here for this best of 7, and it's hard to say who's the favorite coming into this one. I guess Shaolin, based on the play and how hard they were dominating, but it was similar on the other side. And technically, Spinnereska did go up against the team that won the best of, the best of 5 that we just had before in the 3rd and 4th place match. So perhaps they will actually come in here. I'm just hoping that it's another close best of 7 like we had for Asia, Joel.
And we've had one for America as well, just a close bout all the way through. That's exactly what we're wanting for the final game to close things out, not just for Europe, but the entire Season 2 of our Ramenis tournament. And Season 2 has been vastly different from what I remember in Season 1. You and I were there 3 months ago, and we casted a lot of different games, but I mean, Season 2 is full of surprises, I would have to say, not just from the finals, even from the 3rd place matches every now and then. Just this previous one was a lot of laughter about some of the things that we didn't expect from them, but it's good to see because, we're full of varieties here at Black Desert Mobile World Championship, and seeing this Ramenis can be expanded to multiple facets of how you look at this game kind of really questions me into, how deep this game get, because we're seeing a lot of varieties now, and once we get to Season 3, maybe in the future, we might just see even more excitement from there.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're really setting the groundwork for what will be the future of Ramenis. But guys, let's take a look at the matchup that we do have, the one we did just mention before. Spinnereska up against Shaolin, the World Blooder. First question, Smithy, Lord Zask, and Lecter. And I feel like we didn't get too much time to mention these names because they just dominated their best of 5s. Even faster than some of the other best of 5s, so.
But I would have to say, just both of these teams not really knowing which team is going to be the stronger in the end. And Shaolin just take that pictures out of the bag. That really doesn't even matter at this point because they tend to bring multiple different composition, and I still have no idea what they're about to bring in this finals. They might just bring the 1 striker plus the 2 Raven rolls again, but it was against a different composition that we're seeing from Spinnereska that we do see as the picture tells. It's an interesting question because Spinnereska is still undefeated. You gotta mention that. They're still the only team in the entire Europe who is undefeated so far, and of course they did lose that one game.
Yeah, the one game.
But still here. I'm just mentioning the fact of how it is. They're the only undefeated team that come in to the semifinals, and they're still looking quite strong. So Shaolin, they are here with Smithy, Lord Zask, and Lecter, and knowing they formed this team around with the intention of winning the Season 2. Really, they're fulfilling their role right now, and they're one step closer to it, one step away. Can they do it against Spinnereska? It's still a question that we have no answer to. We're about to find a glimpse of it in game number 1.
Yeah, game number 1 is really going to set the stage for what could be a long best of 7 between these two teams. I would expect it to be at least 4-2. I think 4-1 or 4-0 would just be unexpected blowout, but we'll have to see, guys, because game number 1 has started, and we're ready to jump into it right now for the finals. There we go. There's the striker once again, and off he is directly to the opponents, right through the middle. Not wasting any time. There is Smith.
Yeah, so it is going to be the striker verse plus the 2 Raven roll once again. This time, first question, Blooder, the world. No surprise here, bringing that Paladin with the world. First question, and Blooder is going to be trying to do as much damage as he can with the Huntresses. Smithy really causing havoc all around and going up against the Huntresses one by one. The striker can beat him out 1v1 if he wants to go against the Huntress, but the moment you bring reinforcement in is where the striker will struggle just a little bit here.
Well, a little bit too late there by the world, and he's going to eat it too, so that was just pretty much a clean wipe of the enemy team, even though it didn't say it, as all of them got shut down, and now they've frozen the enemy team on top of it with double lightning, as they're certainly making a statement here in this first match.
Yeah, there's nothing worse that you could have done if you are the Blue Squad to give them the sense of dominance in this game one, where there were a lot of question marks to begin this game off, kind of wondering how strong Spinneretsca can be against the potential Shaolin, and really giving off the confidence to the likes of Lord Zaz is the last thing you want to do to start off a matchup. And in this series, we still need more time to figure things out, but for the time being, clearly see who the stronger team is at the moment.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, they're making a statement. They come out, they run right across the map, just like the first time when they're playing in semis. Strategy doesn't change, and the players stay the same as well. And we'll see if they can close this one out. They ran into some trouble with Lagos earlier on in the semis, as Lecter is going to be taken out here. And Smithy is quite low at the same time, but he's not backing down. He's looking for that assassination in the backside.
And he understands the kind of the balance and the matchup that he puts himself against it, and that mobility to get away from that situation, to try to do something about it, while the other two provide some distraction. He's trying to do all he can, and he did a lot just to get away from the field with doing as much as he can. Lord Zaz now stacking up that point to 38. With the amplification to boot, and this is looking pretty good. As long as Lord Zaz doesn't go out in a matter of time, this Lagos control definitely should be in the favor of Shaolin.
Yeah, you can see that they were trying to push the issue here.
Okay, but Blue is rushing it. Absolutely rushing it.
It is. Pick it up. Let's see what other kills they can get here. At the same time, chasing after a bunch of the members. Lord Zaz there in the corner. He's going to be taken out. And just like that, we have a big switch up as low health bars on the side of Shaolin at the same time, so they could even build up more points.
Even with the lightning, I was very, very impressed by the decisiveness that we saw from the Blue Squad. Spinneretsca, as soon as they saw Lord Zaz with top points on a pretty dangerous HP bar, knowing that this team, without their top damage dealer, aren't able to join in on this Lagos bound. This was a go button that they pressed so heavily onto Lagos, and this is a situation where 6 points.
Can they do it again? Can they get one more? They do!
Just
they just took it back in the last 8 seconds.
One last second.
That's insanity.
Oh,
they got that last kill at like 7 seconds left. I'm like, wait, what? And then, as you mentioned, like 1 seconds left. It's like, oh, okay, I guess they're gonna win. And they were doing a good job keeping up with just picking up objectives and waiting for the right moment to strike. And the poise to say, okay, the right moment to strike now is 7 seconds left. Let's take out this guy, to just barely eke out the win there.
You know, I know it's right to recognize the winners for what they are, but Spinneretsca really did impress me of really understanding to us that this team can put up a big fight for this rest of the series. And this game one doesn't define just because they lost that game one. They looked like a stronger team at very good moments of the game, and we can see them replicate that process once again. And I think Shaolin definitely will not be putting their guards down against a specific team like they did in the semi, but still comfortably coming out with the win. This team is a lot stronger, and they do need to be aware of that and quickly adapt to it if they want to secure themselves the championship.
Yeah, clearly this is a much more even matchup between these two teams, and we get to see it again as Game 2 is ready to go. Let's hop into it now. Here we go once again on Smithy Dream. Coming on over, kicking everyone in the face. Just by himself there for quite a moment. Doesn't seem to be too bothered by it.
And just drags all the attention and will go down? Question mark? Oh man, he's still here.
Got frozen.
That's gotta be it, right? Yeah, there you go. You know, Smitty's a little annoying, I would have to say, at times for not allowing us to finish the sentences with a period mark.
Yeah.
Brings a lot of question marks to a lot of our sentences, Brandis.
That is very true. As a lot of skirmishing here in the beginning. Blooder is quite low. They can take him out. For Shaolin, that could be the start of their comeback. They gain the lead there.
Yeah, even with all these kills being given away by Spinneretsca in this early game, based on what we've seen in Game 1, I'm not really worried about this Game 2. Going heavily towards to the side of Shaolin, there is a chance, there is a room and windows of opportunities for the Blue Squad to come back to you. Even though it looks pretty discouraging right now, there will be moments that they know how to be decisive on, and as long as they let that room, as it did Shaolin for this Game number 1 that we saw, Game 2 definitely still has a possibility for the Blue Squad, for Spinnerska, to try to come back and try to win this one.
Yeah, for sure, but they are taking a hefty amount of point damage here in the beginning. They're down to 19 points, and that salvation was quite big for the side of Shaolin. It allows them to go in and attack basically without risking anything and just get even more of a point lead. So feeling pretty good about their position right now, no doubt, as the Lagos is out saying hello.
Yeah, but you can see this, the interaction with Blood are getting the lightning but getting nothing. Specifically because they're playing against 2 Ravens and 1 Striker. They can fly across the map now this, and they know how to get away from situations like that. So with the lightning on the opposite side, this composition for Shaolin is going to be playing pretty safe. So with this Lagos, they have to be very confident not to give away this time around.
Yeah, that is really the case. Smithy, he died a bunch, but he's not giving him too many points. Where does the Lagos go this time around? The last hit will go to Shaolin this time, but still, a lot of time left over, and as is usually the case, the guy who takes out the Lagos is quite low.
Wow.
Lecter here with the majority of the
That's
points.
I mean, you talked about Lightning being escapable for the side of Shaolin because of 2 Ravens, because of the Striker having such ability. Oh, but Lecter is very, very low.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here. Obviously, the enemy team doesn't have too many points, but you know, we've seen crazy comebacks before, Joel.
And that's the thing, yeah, I was talking about the composition, but 2 Huntresses and a Paladin has no ability to get away from the Lightning. So the moment they lose Lagos, there is no hopes for a comeback because the wipe is eventual.
Well, it certainly does feel that way, as they're just desperate to chase after Lecter, but it doesn't look great. As they got knocked down.
They can get it.
Okay, they might be able to get Lecter here. No, he's
7
going to escape
seconds.
once again, and he got a bunch of healing.
Oh, there it is, the
as
salvation.
well. Yep, nicely done. Salvation comes in, and that will be Game 2 as well. Going to the side of Shaolin this time, obviously more one-sided than Game number 1, where it almost looked like it was robbed away from Spinnerska.
Yeah, Game 2, Shaolin much more convincing, and they knew they had the early control, and we were specifically worried about it because last time around in Game 1, we saw Spinnerska take that opportunity to kind of mount one opponent away from that chance to get the Lagos, so made it a 3v2. Easy Lagos for them, and they did get it exactly how they were supposed to, but that window of opportunity this time in Game 2 wasn't really given because the health management from all 3 players of Shaolin were very well executed, and that means everything all across will be just a staple for them to continue on, and they're not going to lose 3v3 against any team that I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. They've proven that many times now in this tournament, and in that game as well, you know, you were talking about health management. I think they got a couple of lucky salvations at times where it allowed them to really keep the ball rolling, keep that train on the train tracks. And, you know, sometimes, I don't think that's the reason they won, but it certainly helped the case of, you know, making the game as one-sided as it was. So we'll see what happens here as game number 3. We are going to go into that right now. Go back into the Ramenes. You were talking about how this team Shaolin they don't really lose fights, and that's why I think immediately the first thing they look for is a fight. They all 3 of them just run across the map. They're like, fight us.
They're always curious,
yeah.
If not anything, to go on the opportunity to see, hey, what will happen if we go 3v3, just rush into their base and fight them? Will we not lose again?
Yeah.
And they ask that question repeatedly. But the moment they have a 3v3 opportunity, they're not backing down. They're just rushing in like that. Lord's ass, bursting him down, and that's all you really need. Smitty keeping control and somehow keeping alive through all of his treatments.
Oh boy. Kind of just bullying them here. You were talking about that lack of mobility. So the second they get pounced upon, it's like I mean, all you can do is kind of shoot back at them and try to do as much damage as possible because you're not really going to get away.
Yeah, just shrugging it off, if that's the best expression of it at all. But the World coming in here trying to do a 1v2 against these lads, I don't know if that's my recognition to him. He's just going to lose his AP just like that.
Yeah, see you later, says Shaolin. Really trying to make a case for themselves to be the winners of this all, as once again, this early game of the third one is quite one-sided.
But still, we have to mention that Smitty is not having the best game in this game number 3. And we know what happened in the semifinals when Smitty wasn't on the top of his game. That's the only game that they lost against another team, which they eventually flew out.
Oh, salvation.
Yeah. Hey, but it's important because this is not the end of the game. We still have 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go, and Smitty has to find a rhythm. No matter how well Lecter and Zas does, the moment they break down, Smitty won't be there to centralize the initiations upon them, and that will be the opportunity for Spinnereska to make some plays and make something of a Lagos play to happen here for NSL.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and I think it points towards Smitty's playstyle as well. He's really only got one direction, which is forward at the enemy team. He's getting punished for it. You know, he's eating so much damage on his way over. He's being focused down, but at least I suppose he's allowed his teammates to take most of the points and kind of just run on the outsides because of that. He's like a little bit of a distraction. As Lecter is going to be able to heal up here. The Lagos is being focused down once again.
3v2 again.
Can they get in? This
there
time,
it is.
Yeah, we do have it going the way of Spinnereska. They're looking now for Lord Zas. They're not quite going to be able to take him out, and there's not a massive lead in this game, but Lord Zas is pretty low.
I would have to say this is a deja vu from what we saw in the semifinals game too.
Oh boy.
For Shaolin, but this lightning, have to get away from it. Can they do it?
They're all frozen.
They're all frozen. The world might go down though.
Lord Zask is still alive somehow. And, oh man, he's still alive, and that is a big point swing as the world goes down.
This is what the Raven can do so well in the time of brink moments. Escape, escape, escape. There's so much mobility. I mean, but there's mobility. He can move through anything in his right and hold that. Yeah, 50 points, just get away with it. 30 points, still hold on to it.
Game number 3 is going to go to Shaolin again, as we are now on match point in almost record time here, as 3 matches in a row go the way of Shaolin. And once again, it's kind of just dominating the early game. Then a couple of members go down around Lagos time, and then even though Spinnereska pick up Lagos, it's like we have so much mobility, we run away, we regroup, we take a couple of kills again, just like the prior 2.5 minutes, and then we eventually come back in the end.
I mean, popularizing the meta, if I can say so carefully, I mean, mobility serves as such a big role because we know the Lightning does so much in a Ravenous match. You know that once you get that, and if you aren't able to run away from it, it's instant death.
Yeah.
But the only classes that we do see being able to capably balance out the defense and also the offense, along with the mobility, having that for all 3 classes, might really just be this composition of Raven, and Striker. It makes a lot of sense now that we look at it from this angle, and it really is working well to their favor. Semifinals, it looked really easy on them. Finals, I thought it was going to be a lot more competitive. Well, right now we're on a clean sweep.
We are 1 game away from a clean sweep, and it's not what I expected at all. I thought at least a 4-2 was my prediction, but unless Spinnereska can turn something around and change our minds, we might just be looking at a 4-0. But we'll have to find out now, guys. Game 4, let's start it now.
This very well. I mean, Val, this could be the first series of the finals from what we've seen from America, Asia, now to Europe. The first of its kind to end in a potential sweep 4-0. We gotta remember that all the finals that we've had so far in Season 2 went to 7 games.
Yeah. This is crazy, you know, it's not something you get very often. I feel like 4-2s and 4-1s are more common than either of the other possibilities. But yeah, it's just been this Shaolin team. I mean, they came in here with a big name, obviously, and they're really showing what they have to offer, even after they stumbled a little bit in the semifinals. finals.
And the thing about this team is the identity of how they were created in the first place. Smitty, a very talented player on his own, bringing his friend Lecter, who's very skilled on his own, and just able to bring in Lord Zaz just because they're in the same guild, being able to team up with it. This team, as I've said multiple times, was specifically structured to win this tournament.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're really
Super team.
reeling in this objective. We've seen Super teams happen in many different sporting events, many different board games, whatever you want to call it. This is another form of a match where you have 3 players who are dedicated to just winning the championship, and here they are, as motivated as they can do so. This might be the moment where they pretty much clinch the bag here.
It might just be, but it's not over just yet. As we always say, it ain't over until it's over. And, you know, but again, we do have the same patterns going on where it's fights being taken to Svinereska. They didn't really have a chance to run away, so they just fight up against it. And they get behind in the early game. Lord Zask, full health. Another salvation was taken here early by the side of Shaolin.
Super healthy here with 33 points onto Lord Zask. And you know, Lecter's always been understated as the player that we don't really mention because we were so busy talking about Smitty. We were talking about Zask all the time with his high straight. But Lecter always is doing his role as the third player who's exactly what you're supposed to do at a contribution to a winning team. And Lecter is still with 24 points. It would be a sin not to talk about it because he's been doing just as well as anybody else. And these 3 members are the key factors of understanding why this is a 3-0 in the first place in the Grand Finals. And this Game 4 looks no different from what the other 3 games you've seen.
Lord Zask, who's kind of getting pinned up against this corner. But just so much mobility. The Raven is insane, the amount of times he can get away.
Here it is.
Just like that, the caster first comes in. But at least he's going to be full health now for the rest of the fight, and still they are in the lead.
36-23. You're not worried with Lord Zask going down once. 36-23 is completely fine. 67 and it's
Has to be
Smitty.
Lagos, right?
It really is because Smitty still hasn't been doing much of trying to gather the points to himself. He's feeding the points onto the Ravens to making sure that he can grab onto what he can, but 20 seconds left to go. This has to be Lagos. 16 HP bar. It's not what you're wanting if you're the blue team. You're 1 game away from losing the finals.
You have to go for Lagos, and they're trying desperately now, but there's only 10 seconds left.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, it doesn't look like it, although
6,
5
4,
health bars 3, down to the last 2 seconds.
Not gonna kill the Lagos?
Oh, they're not gonna go. Oh,
they
it does
got
go
it
the
in the
way
end.
of Shaolin as the ultimate winners here. 4-0.
There it is.
The European champion Shaolin Smithy, Lord Zask, and Lecter. In the end, that last Game 4 was quite exciting, down to the wire, but they will go ahead and get the clean sweep.
Wow.
4-0, untouched in this one, and pick up that shiny big trophy.
And I would have said, from Smitty to Zask to Lecter, there is not one single player who has not made the full contribution to bring the success for this team. And the most success they did out of all the regions, we didn't think that it was going to end 4-0 as it did. Very, very convincing performance from the semifinals, as they only just lost 1 game for that, but did even better in the finals against a much stronger team. I would say Svinereska was not a weak team whatsoever from what we've seen in the semifinals, but coming in here, they were very, very convincing and very, very deserving of winning this championship as they objectify themselves to be.
Yeah, the objective best team here in Europe. They have declared themselves the super team, as we were talking about how they were formed. It all comes together as we were talking about, so very well deserved for that team to pick up the clean sweep. Not even a spot on their record there in the finals. So we will take a look one last time, I believe, at the bracket.
Yeah. Just to look at that.
Yeah, there they are, up at the top. As
If
you
not
guys
to
can see.
recognize them one more time. Here they are. Shaolin, the team that was formed to win the championship. Mission accomplished. That's all you need to say. Round of 32, they look like the strongest team, and they just jumped up to round of 16 fine. Round of just quarterfinals, just as fine. Quarterfinals was very, very tough because they went up against a very strong team. It could have been the finals in that match if you could have just said it for yourself, but coming to the semifinals, they were clearly the best team out of the 4, and that's why you see them up on the top, up on the championship ring, and they will be given all the rewards.
They get everything. They take the cup, they take the trophy, the crown, they get everything on top, all the pearls and all of the glory. at the top. Nobody could touch them here in the semifinals. And that's the end of that story. So we finished off the Ramenes Championship Season 2 with the end here of the European region. And I feel like we've developed, Joel,
definitely,
the strategies are getting better, the players are getting better, and the games are getting more fun. So that's all good stuff across the board.
Just brings a lot of excitement as to what could happen in Season 3 if we do get it in the future. We talked about this in Season 1.
Yeah.
If there is a Season 2, this could be all very
Yeah.
exciting. And we're saying the parroting phrase once again. Season 3. I bet you if it does happen, it will be very, very exciting and just more things to really look out for. So I'm just really thankful for everything that was coming together to make the Season 2 happen. All
Sure.
the players helping out, and of course all of our staff, all of our teammates, and just really making this tournament happen. We're very, very thankful to everybody who contributed to this, and we just really feel great about it. And I think this was a successful tournament overall. I'm very excited for Season 3 to eventually happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So glad to be here and working with everybody. It was an awesome event once again. And for you guys, once again, you're looking for the code. Don't go anywhere. Don't close the stream just yet. We're going to put that on just after we say goodbye, just to give a little extra thanks to the community for everybody that's out there watching and supporting the Ramenes Championship. So that's about all from us. Thank you so much, Joel, Sophie, once again for casting with me. It was me, Valdez, and Joel signing off for now. Thank you guys. Have a good night.